I think it's safe to say that we're back to square one, my friends. As we rode the account, the small account, ups and downs, we had the account up to almost $600, 595.42 was the peak back on December 27th when things were good. 2022, and here we are at 101.49. In today's video, what I want to do is I want to unpack this past month. I want to dive through the data, talk about what went wrong, and talk about what to potentially look to do in the future to correct this. As you guys know, I show this stuff. Oh, light went off. I show this stuff every single week, month, whatever you want to call it. Every Saturday, we do a video of the portfolio updates, and I try to do at least once a month. It's been a bit, so I figured end of the month is a good time to do this, right? To recap the month. And so we're going to go through the trade Zella data. So every day I will I would just export the trading records from this account and my main, Webull, I guess, account. And I just I take out the option records. So only the option trades, and they get put over onto Trade Zella to track everything. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to unpack. Here is a look at the month of Feb. Here in the Trade Zella. I'll get myself off the screen really quick because I think it'll be good to see everything. And you can kind of see the monthly or the day by day P&L track, the monthly track. What we have this month was just a solidly consistent shitty win rate. And that's as simple as I can put it. And this is an extension, I believe, of what happened last month as well. And so the problem that we really had is this. I mean, look on the left-hand side. Our win rate's 25%. I didn't take a million trades here. I took whatever that is, 24 trades. It's not, it's not that many. And I guess technically, a shorter month, so maybe. But, averaging like a trade a day, maybe roughly. Maybe just over that, I guess, based on the trading days in the month. And so the win rate is dog shit. I mean, it just, you can't, I've talked about this in the past, and yeah, you can be profitable with a 25% win rate. Your risk reward's got to be insane. Our average winner versus loser end up going back to the downside, and a lot, I think, has to do with how I finish things up. I just had like essentially these super small wins like the past 2 weeks on any winning trades, which really kind of threw that off. And you can kind of see like, Thursday, the 23rd, $7, it's like, okay, really, what is $7 going to do? It's not going to help. It's just because we're trying to, follow one strategy and not follow 3 to 4 to 5 different types of setups, which is good and bad. And I think the problem is that I've kind of adopted into one strategy right now that is somewhat more momentum based, and not that it needs a ton of range to be profitable, but it heavily the upside of it heavily relies upon decent range. And when I say decent range, it's not this this bullshit on the S&P. Not bullshit, it's how you perceive it. And I shouldn't be saying that at the end of the day, right? Because it is what it is. It doesn't matter. Like I can come out and say it sucks, right? But that's just because that's how I am interpreting it. Like someone who loves range trading is like, oh, this is the best market ever, right? So it doesn't, it depends how you look at things. This is me recording this a couple of days ahead of time, but I still want to have this done, and put this video out, because it's useful stuff, I think. So that was the biggest problem. And I'll dive into the main, the other portfolio where we have a little heavier size, and we can talk about that too. But let's dive into, actually, let's do that. Because it kind of, I took a lot of the same trades. Here was down 2K. 80 trades. That's a lot. That's, I think, too many. That's definitely too many. Our average winner and loser here was pretty much flat. This reminds me of how it was back in December. It's kind of a similar number, or at least similar ratio. The problem here was our win rate was so much worse. We've actually, if you look through, we actually did better in the middle of the week for whatever reason. Bad on Fridays, bad on Mondays, Tuesdays. So we started the week off horrible, and we finished the week off horrible pretty much every single week of the month of February, which kind of sucks. But win rate was a little bit better here, but the size of the positions is larger a little bit, so that takes you down 2K. And in this portfolio, what we've been doing is I took out some money a couple weeks ago. The reason why I did that was because, number one, the strategy we've got is not working. So I'm not going to keep, just throwing money into this with heavier size. So I've scaled down the size, and you can notice that pretty clearly, I think, in the last 2 weeks. Losing days are 1485. This 305 was because I exited a swing position. The strangle on TQQQ, it really wasn't down that much. Actually, I think it was a green day, if that. 46 green, 12 green, 7 red. So the sizing has come down a lot. So I think it's a lot more sustainable to just try this out and give it a good month, or 2 or 3, really, to let's just see how the strategy is going to go. And what the strategy essentially is it relies upon range, right? And so we're looking at stocks, and I'll give you an example of a setup that would be very, very nice on the strategy would be NVIDIA. So for example, here's NVIDIA, and here's the chart of NVIDIA on the 1 hour. And this is a 1 hour. You can look at the daily. You can even look at the 4 hour chart, 2 hour charts. Doesn't really matter. It all kind of looks the same. But here's a 1 hour chart, and we've got a resistance right here. Okay. So we had a big move up on NVIDIA off the recent earnings report. It was last week. And we have gotten rejected multiple times. So what I'm looking for, and it could be upside and downside, doesn't really matter, is big move or relatively big move nearing the top of the range over the past couple of days or weeks in a perfect scenario, and flagging in the top of the range. So right now, maybe this is going to be good, maybe it's not. It might just go like this, and I will never take the trade, doesn't really matter. But the trade idea is when we get that break, we go long, okay? Because the reason why we take that trade, that break, is because we had a big move up and we're staying tight. What I mean by staying tight is we are very close to that break. We've got strength, right? If NVIDIA did this, right? If it did this big move up and then did this and this and this and huge moves, that doesn't make me inclined to take that break as much, or it's a lower probability trade. It would probably be other options out there that are better than that one, ideally. But we want a big move, staying tight, okay, and then eventually a breakthrough, and that's a play. Now, of course, it could be downside as well. Of course, right? The past couple weeks, have we gotten those types of moves, right? We've gotten every time we go to a high of the day, the market reverses. Now, you can still get individual stocks to do that, but that's essentially the system or the trading strategy we're going to operate with, because it plays off of my favorite, which is essentially flags, up and down. Always have been my favorite, and it has been one of my higher success patterns. The problem that I have is I never really had a true system behind it. I was like, oh, I see a flag, I'll take it, right? And I'd front run the flags sometimes, I wouldn't some other times. And so now I've got a better systematic approach that when this breaks, because we've been tight, we've got these higher lows building in, right? It's not just plummeting right back down, right? And then coming back up here for the first time. And, after a massive move up, if you got a huge move up, you'd want to see it kind of consolidate. If it gets above, fine, but consolidate above that level now and then take the trade, right? Ideally on the next leg, as we're breaking that leg in a perfect world. This is because it's going to minimize the time waiting around. You're playing when the momentum is there. It's either going to go or it's not, okay? And in the way I'm playing it is that I've got the stops kind of lined up to where they're fairly tight. So if it's going to fake me out, I'm going to know pretty quick and I'm going to get out. And it's not going to be the end of the world. And you can kind of see that in these, the P&L here. We haven't had, there's not going to be huge losers with the sizing that I'm playing with. And the thing is, if you get those big moves like NVIDIA, which could be, who knows, if it does go, right, this could be one of those trades that has major range, and NVIDIA's at 240, 250 in the same day, right? If it breaks that level when the day comes, if it comes, right? And so if that's the case, and the same idea would have been essentially down here as well, right? Breaking this zone to the downside, we got, big move down, staying tight, looking for downside. In this case, right, we might get the exact opposite. We got the big move up, staying tight, looking for upside, but we might get downside. And so there's no trade there, right? I'd rather trade the weaker stocks if we start moving down in the overall market, which brings NVIDIA down, right? That's the idea. So in a nutshell, that's kind of the approach, okay? So if we go back through, I want to dive into some of the data into this past month, what was good, what was bad. Let's go through some of the reports. So if I go to the options side here, what we'll notice is that it's funny. I actually had green on same day expiration. I'm actually, this is only one day. Let me go to this month. Let's get the full range. Okay. Our only green category was actually same day expiration. It was $34, and there was like 2 contracts I traded there. Everything else has been net red. Now, of course, when you take more trades and just you're generally red, that's what you're going to see. So I don't know if I want to mess with this too much. This 10 days is skewed because it's an option, swing trade approach. So it's just a little bit different. But haven't really been able to find a sweet spot there. If you dive into, let's go to the risk category. Let's go to wins and losses. Let's see if I can compare. Let's just start diving through some of the stats here. Okay. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear that, well, I guess this past month we did better on days where the market was up. It was only one day, I guess. Market was up 1 to 2%, just generally not doing well. And I think it's, especially this chop range, which does a lot of the damage right there. -1 to 1%. That took vast majority of the trades, so that's kind of what the market did this past month. And, it's just kind of unfortunate. But let's go into some of the detailed stats. Wednesday was my best day of the week for whatever reason. It just happened to be the better day. And I guess didn't do great at the beginning and didn't do great at the end of the week. That's just kind of how things went. If you look at the time in the trade, right, before performance by hour, better at 10 a.m., I guess, apparently, based off this data. And my market's open at 8:30 for me for Central Time. Better at 10 a.m., not great late, not great early. Didn't really trade too many early plays. I guess I had more in the midday time frame. It's kind of when I had time to look at things, more so. This past month has been kind of a shit show too, with other just random things that generally aren't in my schedule coming up, whether it's doctors, it's this, it's that, other deadlines I had to hit for other things that I'm doing behind the scenes and whatever. It was kind of a pain in the ass. And so was it the best month probably to be trading? No, but I still, when I had some time and I sat down for a minute, like I was able to look at things and take some stuff that I saw that was a valid idea, right? That's all it was. It was a valid idea. Trade duration, check this out. So the longer that I'm in the trade, the better I've done. That's how this month went, which is notable. So the bigger picture, what that I think takes away is that the exact idea here is that this NVIDIA idea, for example, if it breaks, this is on bigger time frames. Like this is the 1 hour chart, and even this is kind of tight, right? In terms of like zoomed in. You can probably go to the 4 hour chart, even the daily chart for this idea. And when you zoom out to those time frames, like you got to let the trade work. There's no reason to jump ship, until it, you let it work or it hits your stop. And so either you get a huge rejection off that break zone up or down and it hits your stop, or like it takes its time, let it work. So what it's told me was like these 5-minute trades, like playing off the 5-minute chart for like little scalps, like this is a shit show. And yeah, you're going to get stopped out more often than not, especially when you get price action that looks like this that we've had, recently, right? So that's kind of telling. And I think that doesn't necessarily mean like that's what I need to stick to. It just means I think that's just kind of a product of the market environment that right now what's been the best has been the bigger picture ideas, like the higher time frames, not the low, time frames, the 5 minutes, 15 minutes, even those haven't been great because we got a lot of chop. So if you're playing off the 5-minute chart, expect chop until that changes. The market conditions change, right? Again, same deal. The higher price options I did better on. That was probably more so because the beginning of the month that we traded some of those. I stopped really trading those towards the end of the month. Not necessarily a reason, more so because on the percentage risk reward scale, it just made sense to trade at or around the money, versus like deep in the money on some of these contracts. So that's kind of the deal there. If we jump over to stocks, Enphase was my biggest winner. Target was up there. Walmart, interestingly enough, I didn't realize SPY was not great. I stopped trading SPY, to be honest. I didn't trade SPY very, very much. I I guess two trades on SPY this past month. Sector, I don't really think it matters too much. In terms of setups, check this out. So not surprising, but in terms of the setup side of things, bear flags, I guess didn't work very well. Longs over VWAP didn't work very well because I think we had a lot of this chop. But shorts under VWAP and trends breaking down and a supply zone short, those work the best. Now, why? Why is that potentially the case? I think that's potentially the case because we did trend lower over the course of this month. So when we look at that, past month, the market's generally lower. You're probably going to have a higher success rate on these types of setups, which makes sense. And that's kind of what we got. In terms of mistakes, also, I do like playing the downside. For whatever reason, I like playing the downside more. The moves seem to be a little bit easier on me. I don't know what for exactly why. From a day trade perspective, I just like the downside more. So maybe that's telling me. Maybe it's like, hey, only trade when it's nasty out there. Maybe that's something that I learn and just do, because again, like if you can adapt and figure out what works and what doesn't work for you, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and learn that over time, right? You'll have a pretty good sense of like, hey, like, if I suck on green days, like I should probably just do something else that's productive with my life instead of look at a chart or look at the market right now, because I know my data and I just have been doing it for, a year or two, and I just don't do well on green days, right? I just, whatever it is, mentally, emotionally, who knows, right? You get a little greedy, who knows? And so if that's the case, and that those days are hurting your net return or your net, numbers, P&L, and then don't trade them, right? That's kind of an idea. In terms of mistakes, now the mistake side is going to pretty much be red because it's mistakes. Like there's not many trades where that are green. There are some that are green that are mistakes. There's less, at least. On the mistake side, the biggest thing is over trading. That lost me about almost $300 from over trading, tossing impatience, FOMO. I would honestly kind of count them all almost together in their same category. Not really a technical mistake. It's more so a mental mistake, just like feeling like I got to jump in or, I got to do something, right? And that I guess that was more than, it was probably like $600 almost, in mistakes, which, $600 would have been $600 that I didn't have to toss away, essentially, right? So that's been the biggest thing. And I think that, I've gotten better with that. And I think the biggest cure to over trading and in being impatient and FOMO, the biggest cure is to just simply following a simple system and set of rules. Like I know that the system that I'm essentially using now will provide, like I said in the past, like recently, I think I said, 10, 15, 20 trades a week. Like it will probably provide that no matter what. Like there will be about those many trades a week. Will I be there for all of them? No, but will I be able to get a couple of them, or at least a handful, if not, majority? Yeah, I probably will be able to see them, right? So, because they're on the higher the time frame, maybe the less trades. So maybe there's maybe more like 10 to 15. You know what I mean? But if I'm able to catch 5 to 10, like that's enough, right? I don't really care. It's still enough for the week, to judge how things are going over the course of weeks and months. So that's the biggest thing, because the beginning of the month, if I go back, and I will go back to this dashboard again, the beginning of the month was kind of choppy and like not terrible, but this bigger drawdown right here, there were some mistakes. I think I held an option overnight by accident over the weekend. That was stupid. So some of these big drawdowns could have been prevented, but I think the problem was early on was over trading, and it was not having a system to follow versus, but not having a system to follow that I knew exactly when go, right? Instead of, do I like this? Trying to think. And when you start thinking too much, right, because you don't have a set parameter that you're looking for, it's going to throw you off. So that's where we're at this point in the game. And the sun is starting to shine in the room on this fine, whatever day it is I'm filming the video. It's a beautiful day outside. It's 82 degrees here in Austin, Texas. I can't wait to get up to snowboard a bit, but man, 82 degrees is pretty darn nice here. So I'm not sure exactly when I want to post this video, but it'll come out in the next couple of days or week or so within filming it. And so hopefully it's helpful. I mean, the thing is, it sucks. Like I don't give a fuck about, coming on and showing the red, you know what I mean? So it's not easy to do. People don't want to do it, especially, people, who have, larger followings, who, sell a service and whatnot and things like that, because, they feel this pressure to always be right and always be green and all these things. And so I don't really feel like I have that pressure. Like it's on myself. It's a me versus me. It's not about me versus you or anybody here. It doesn't matter. It's a quest that we're on to kind of figure this thing out, because I've had the ups, I've had the downs for sure over the years. And I know that I can, get lucky during times. And I know when the iron's hot, there's opportunities. There's always opportunities, whether it's small caps, whether it's swings, like all that stuff, they'll be there. It's not right now, maybe as much, but there'll be opportunities again, right? So I'm not like super worried about that. And my biggest priority is to build a system that I can actually utilize on a week-to-week basis, with maybe minor, errors and things that I can correct over time as markets change and adapt. For example, this recent kind of chop, maybe that just means less trades, or maybe that means playing the reversals maybe a bit more than I would, or play the failed breakout, wait for a stock to fail a breakout. If it fails, then take the short, you know what I mean? Instead of playing the breakouts, right? But eventually we know what's going to happen is that we're going to get one of those big trend days. I mentioned in a recent video, we're going to get a trend day or a week or a month, and it's going to blow people out because everyone was so used to playing the chop, right? So that's how the market kind of works. Catch you all in, get you thinking one thing, and then once everyone's on the same side, switch it up on you and change the game. So hope it's helpful. I appreciate you guys for hanging out and watching the video. And if you got something out of it, or if you got any insights, let us know in the comment section down below. I'm curious. I know I've, seen a lot of people, some, with some good success, but I think that there's a lot of people who probably, are in a similar position. I've been seeing a lot of, it's the space is definitely clearing out in terms of who wants to stick around from the whole COVID days and whatever. But that never really impacted me, to be honest, too much. Obviously, like the environment was great, but in my view, like, I was interested before COVID, and I'm still interested now. It's not like that changed things. It was fun back then, and all those crazy runners and whatever. But that's not. And you almost knew that wasn't going to be. You knew that wasn't going to be consistent. It was more so when was it going to end was the question, right? And so a lot of us got caught with our pants down to some degree. I think some more than others. Obviously, if we all had probably look back and go, hindsight, if I just sold all this at the top, would have been sick. But you can't go back. This is the kind of the game that I want to play with some money on the side. And if we can grow it, great. And that's the game. That's the game plan. And we're going to try to do that. So hopefully it's helpful. I'm trying to be critical of myself, but also like, you can't look at it and go, oh my gosh, it's over. I'm going to quit because I'm a bitch. Like, then go quit. You know what I mean? If you don't want to be here, then don't be here. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not something I'm interested in doing, right? It takes another, year, 2, 3, 4 freaking years to figure something out. I know that it's possible. I know I got to create a system for myself that works, and I'm still in the process. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys like always. Thumbs up button. If you're hanging out, if you're still here, how can you not hit the thumbs up button? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.